So in the last video, I gave you a little bit of a taster for how we can use geometry to look at two equations and how we can sort of see a link between them and the algebra. So what I said was that the intersection points are where the solutions to the equations lie. And I feel like that is very useful in that it can give you sort of validation to your answers, so it can help you check and it can help you make sure that you've got the right answer. But there is like a kind of a problem with it, right? In that it might not always give you the most accurate answer. And I'm going to give you an example of that here. So we're going to look at, if you just ignore this left hand side for now, I'm going to come back to this in just a second. But let's just focus on this graph here. So I've plotted out y is equal to x squared minus 2. And I want to find out where this intersects with y equals 0. So in other words, where 0 is equal to x squared minus 2. And if you watch my video on the quadratic formula, you might be an expert on this. But otherwise, you might look at this graph and let's find the line y equals 0. Well, it's just going to be this. It's going to be the x-axis. Here's y. Here's where y equals 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So it's going to be just this entire line. And I want to find out where it intersects with this. And if you look at the graph, you might think, well, here's 1, here's 2. It's some value between 1 and 2. Maybe it's 1.5. And so the graph can kind of give you some intuition as to where it is, but it might not always give you an exact answer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how, at least for linear equations, you can find an exact answer. That's what the aim of this video is going to be. So I'm kind of working with the running example here. We have this equation, y equals 10 minus x, and we have this equation, y equals x plus 4. And what you're going to do is you're going to match the equations up. So we know that y is equal to 10 minus x, but we also know that in our solution y is equal to x plus 4. So what we can do is, well, this is y and this is y. So this side must also be y and this must also be y. So we get that 10 minus x, actually I'll write this in, y equals 10 minus x, this is nothing new, but this is equal to x plus 4 as well. And what you're going to do is, let's just ignore this y here and just focus on this bit for a second. We end up with this equation. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add x to both sides of this, so I get that 10 is equal to, well, we have x here already, and we're adding another x. So we get 2 lots of x plus 4. And we can also take 4 away from both sides of this equation. So we get that 6 is equal to 2 lots of x. And finally, we can divide both sides by 2, and we get that 3 is equal to x. And that's just part of our solution. So now what you need to do is you need to go back and you need to plug this guy in to find out your value for y. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that y is equal to, we know x is equal to 3 now, so 3 plus 4, which is just equal to 7. And that is kind of a more concrete way of ensuring that you have the right answer. So again, the geometry can give you sort of an idea as to where the answer will be, and it might give you a very close approximation, but this is like the algebraic way of doing it to get the definite right answer. And with that, I think we should just look at another example real quick. So let's do y plus 5x is equal to, I don't know, let's do a small number, 6. And let's do 3y, 3y plus, let's go with just 1x is equal to 2. Why not? So again, what I'm going to do is, doesn't really matter which variable, but I'm going to just put everything into terms of one of them variables. So I'm going to choose y. So I get that y is equal to, we're going to take away 5x from both of these, both sides. So this is just going to go to y. So we're going to get 6 minus 5x. Okay, and we're going to do the same again. So for this guy, I'm going to take away x from both sides. So this is going to become 3y is equal to 2 minus x. And now we've still got a little bit of work to do because this is not in terms of y just yet. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And you have to divide everything. So I'm going to put this in brackets. So it's going to be 2 minus x divided by 3. And let's put the brackets on the top so we know that it's all divided by 3. And so here's another equation just purely in terms of y. 2 minus x all divided by 3. I'm going to make a little bit of room here. Actually, I'm going to keep our initial equations as well. But let's just get rid of this working. So, just as before, we know that y is equal to 6 minus 5x. But y is also equal to 2 minus x divided by 3. All divided by 3 as well. So let's just kind of ignore this y here. So we have this relationship for x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to times both sides by 3 just to get rid of this denominator. So that's going to be 3 times by 6 minus 5x is equal to 2 minus x. So that's just cancelled with this 3 here. And this side it's going to become 18 minus 15x is equal to 2 minus x. And we're going to come up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away 2 from both sides. So it's going to be 16. And I'm going to add 15x to both sides as well. Hopefully this shouldn't be too hard to see. So I've got rid of my constant terms. So negative x plus 15x is going to go to 14x. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I get that 8 is equal to 7x. So I get that 8 divided by 7 is equal to x. And let me just double check I've done that right, because that'd be embarrassing if not. So I take away 2 from both sides, add 15. Yep, so that looks right to me. So I have 8 divided by 7 is equal to x. And now, last thing is we just need to plug this into one of our equations to get our value for y. So I'm just going to make some room here. And let's plug it into, I'd say probably the top equation is going to be the best one. So I get that y is equal to 6 minus 5 times by, we know that x is equal to 8/7 times by 8 divided by 7. So, I mean, if you have access to a calculator, that's probably quicker, but if not, doesn't really matter. I know that 6 times by 7 is 42, and then divide that by 7. We get that 42 over 7 minus 5 times by 8 is 40. And we're all over 7. So in the end, this is just going to be 2 over 7. And so our full solution is going to be x is equal to 8/7 and y is equal to 2/7. And really, if you really want to be reassuring yourself, you can plug these back in. So if you got a calculator on standby, or if you can just do it quickly in your head, I know that 2/7 add on 40 over 7 is going to be 6. That's 42 over 7. That sounds right to me. And if we plug it into this equation as well, if we have 3 times this, that's going to be 6/7 add 8/7. That's going to be 14/7, which is just 2. So that seems right to me. And if you really, really want to put your skills to the test and what you've learned, you can plot this out and you can see what the graph says. Thank you very much for watching. If you like, then like the video. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And if you want to ask me questions, head on over to Reddit. That's probably the best place to ask me. Thank you for watching, and peace out.